Hi, welcome everybody to episode number 1 of, we don't know what that's going to be called.
No.
But right now, placeholder is
The first wave.
FutureCasting. And it's sort of a form of surfing. So I get in my stance, and I think I got a big head. But probably going to get a copyright on that because it took me a while to get it switched over. So what this video is, if you watch the last surf report, talked about some interim videos that we're planning on doing together. And these are planning on getting you information for the future. So a little bit further reach than just the week, but there's limitations in doing that because we're missing the Dreambot, unless, of course, we start a project where we're incubating dreams for a certain period. We can do that. And in fact, that's something we didn't talk about. That's anyway. But so there's limitations. So we don't have the Dreambot. We can do the I Ching, but it's mainly just astrology. So in these future castings, most of the work will be done in terms of astrology, but much further down the road. So for example, on this, we have a kind of a list of some big things coming up, and each one of these line items, like for example, the full moon in Leo, will be almost like a separate video in these weekly things. So at the National Dream Center YouTube channel, Rumble, and BitChute, should have, our plan is to have 2 videos each week. So the first one will be the surf, and then the next one will be kind of future casting, whatever that name is. That's the best name we have so far. And then we'll talk about these things that are further out, but of importance, of significance, so that you can plan your vacations or plan your businesses as appropriate, or hopefully get some utility out of getting a future energy or getting a further look into the future. So that's the concept. And also, the other thing we wanted to do is to help it grow the channel, obviously with 2 videos a week instead of just 1. That might help. But open up. This is an opportunity to really open up from hearing from all of you. Like, if you guys hear of something really important and want to hear about it, let's put it on the list and knock out a video for it, right? If you guys have questions of some significant thing happening in the future. So opening up dialogue between all the viewers and us is sort of the gig, you know? Do you agree with that, Angie?
I do. I think it's about community, and we want input, and that way, you know, what we do here, we can give more output, and it just be this infinite thing, back and forth.
Symbiotic.
Yeah. Right.
So speaking of building the channel, we have Angie doing a lot of things in the background through social media. And so in light of all that, not only is she trying to put out more daily content, useful, helpful, some sending it over here to grow the channel, et cetera, but hopefully productive for you guys and useful for you guys. So I wanted to give you guys an idea for some of the things she's going to be doing on both channels. And both, I mean, the sister organizations, Intervention and National Dream Center, are owned by us. And the YouTube channel over at Intervention was being used for interviews. Well, I've since stopped doing the interviews because of time. And it's time that I pass the torch over to Angie, and she's planning on doing some interviews along the lines of intervention. So inner peace, the search for inner peace, things that bring peace and contentment in your life. Those kinds of themes will be in those interviews. And then we may or may not, I don't know how you feel about this, Ange, but Like if I have a surf report and maybe a solution, then Angie might be doing like a guided meditation or something along those
Mm.
lines, or just any guided meditation that you
Some
want to do.
visualizing and yeah, absolutely.
And which platforms are you mainly putting content out right now on social media?
Well, we have the National Dream Center. That's a little bit lighter on information going out on social media just because, we do once a week thing, but mainly on intervention. It's food for thought too. I hope we're putting out content that makes people think. And, we're in the search for the needs and solutions. So, more.
Which one, where should they go first? Like if they're not on any social media, but they're interested in seeing some of the content there, is it Facebook, Instagram?
Facebook is generally my go-to, and then it feeds into intervention as well. We have a Telegram channel. I don't do anything on that, but that is out there. We're both individually. You can always follow. I give a little more of the esoteric stuff on my own personal, Facebook page, and Cosmic Camel is my handle on some other outreaches, Twitter, and that's basically the main ones right now. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll hopefully get a better guideline for you guys in the future. And then in addition, as we do more of these videos, we'll just call them episodes. It's kind of like FutureCasting, but we'll probably have some cool name over time. And but we'll keep counting up from those episodes. And then we'll keep doing the surf reports hopefully every Wednesday. I don't see any change in that. And so in this video, what we wanted to do in terms of FutureCasting is a couple of things coming down the pike. There's one on, as you can see on that list down here, of Imbolc. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but Angie's an expert on that one. And then we have the full moon in Leo, and we're going to be talking about these, and then we'll march, no pun intended, we'll march our way down, and maybe next week's we'll talk about more of the spring things like the spring equinox and what's important to remember there, some special nuances, and then eventually get into these solar eclipses. As we gain more, get our arms around some of these short-sighted ones, the ones that are coming up, we might be doing ones all the way out into 2024 at some point, and giving you guys a real good, hopefully a good look, a good heads up on what to expect energetically. So why don't we get started? If you're ready, February 1st.
Yeah. Talking about my favorite things.
How do you even pronounce that?
Imbolc. It's not, no O isn't pronounced in there. And of course, with, I got these fun things going on in my mouth. My enunciation is not all there either.
That's temporary.
Yes. Right? Yeah. Yeah. I'm reaching up a midpoint. So hopefully I'm finally seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. But yes. And Imbolc is a pagan holiday. The Celtic, my Irishman here. It's a Celtic holiday. They honor and serve a goddess. Her name is Bridge, and she is a fire. And if we start out with just the meaning of the word Imbolc is, it's in the belly of the mother. So, we can even go back to the surf report of even, I think, going back 2 times that I've been on. And the first one was the Phoenix Rising. And the last one was, we talked about the cauldron. And so that there, to me, all this stuff is, really flows into what is happening with Imbolc. And Imbolc is the halfway point between Yule, the winter, and spring, the spring solstice. So
Is it always on February 1st?
yeah, right around that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I'm not really sure, like when we have leap year and all that kind of stuff, because then I think it would play, you could maybe look that up as far as when the official day is between spring and winter.
So if it's pagan, I would imagine it's an astrological event.
Absolutely.
So since the equinoxes and solstices sort of vary a day-ish each time, maybe this one varies kind of equally. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and it coincides with the groundhog, coming out and seeing the shadow. That's always February 2nd. But the meaning of it is in the belly. So, again, we pertain to that cauldron, and what is happening in your belly? What is, what are you stirring up? And I don't think the phoenix has rose. It's rising out of those ashes, out of this. And this is a great time, and the full moon too, right after, to really celebrate in that. And there's different ways, different rituals, different things you can do. It's also called Candlemas. So it's to light the fire, light the fire, melt the snow, and start nesting, cleaning your stuff that doesn't serve you any longer. Get rid of all the old stuff, but embrace for the new baby that's coming,
And the baby that's coming on spring equinox, is that the idea?
Or? Well, yeah, absolutely. But a lot of, your spring animals right now are
just the spring in general, that period. Well, I've got the astrology for February 1st, and the first thing I think you mentioned was like the mother. Yeah. And this is interesting because this is around noon, like I normally do for surf reports, but the moon is going to be going into Cancer, i.e. home. The moon is the mother in the zodiac, going into homeland of Cancer on that day. Just later on in the day, I could probably get you a time for that as we talk.
Yeah, that gives me goosebumps. That's just so perfect. It's, Bridge is a goddess of fertility too. And so it's.
So right around. Oh boy. Okay. Let's do hour. That's too much. Let's go minute. Almost there. Right there. That's 2:11 p.m. Central Standard Time on February 1st. Moon goes into Cancer.
4.
On Imbolc.
Imbolc, yes.
And what other archetypes? I used to mention fire. Well, there's a square on the moon squared over to Jupiter. That kind of fire-like alignment.
I believe it's Christianity took over kind of that celebration and called it Candlemas, if I'm not incorrect. But it is that day. A lot of people would gather snow piles up and then burn them. You're celebrating both things, the winter and the spring ahead. It's stare into the fire, look into your future, but be grateful for the winter.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what if we just had a big snow, and the chances of having more snow on February 1st probably slim.
Yeah, but I think that it's kind of promising that there's always snow right around this time, and it takes a long time for snow piles to go away once it comes at this time.
Be important because would it be important to have for your ceremony the snow, or is that just more of a metaphor?
Kind of a metaphor, but I mean, it is in traditions that they have done that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But, just two simple ones would be milk and a fire, a candle, a glass of milk. Yeah.
Warm milk.
Mother milk. Right. And then just stare into the fire.
Mm.
And, you can call in the goddess bridge and just see what she has to say to you.
What's goddess bridge?
Well, I am not an expert on the goddesses and stuff, but there are the well-known ones and stuff. But she's the one that represents fire and fertility, and that's what the pagans celebrated, was her at this point.
Well, I think there's some astrology to this for this particular year. I know it's not the same every year, and so that I find that special. Yeah. That a lot of what you said is indicated in the chart.
Right.
So, anything else?
Not in particular. No, I think that's.
So now our chart's gone. Now I gotta go find it. I had to restart the computer, so I guess it dumps it. It dumps my charts.
And how about you, though? What kind of things are happening that day? We have Venus. That's probably, that's kind of significant too. At that
Venus is getting closer to the perfected square with Mars. So this passion is getting a lot stronger. That can be seen as kind of definitely some fire there. Pressure. There's probably equal amount, if I kind of look at this, equal amount of ease with the trines and squares. So it's a matter of balancing those out.
Yeah. Finding values, what really matters to you.
There's real dreamy on this one. Moon, square, Neptune. Water signs, they're in their comfort zone with their moon, and they're both home. Wow, that's interesting. Wow, that is really interesting.
Yeah, and Mars and Pisces.
The ruler of Cancer is Moon. She's home. And then Neptune, ruler of Pisces, home, and they're in a square. That's unusual. But it's really loose, though. It's about ready to end. Have to be in a late stage on one and an early stage on the other, but as a pressure point between two like elements, water.
So the collective energy, as far as that is, we've got water and then fire, along with the celebration that's happening in specific. Yeah.
Got quite a dispersal of signs and support in the signs. Two, and then they're starting to disperse here with the moon.
I think it's very nurturing. A time to really be nurturing something.
All right, let's go find. That's not it. I know what I did. All right. Moon. And we want 180 degrees.
The storm moon.
February 5th. All right, there we go. Sorry. Well, as I recall, okay, so overview is this full moon in Leo. That might be a really entertaining full moon. You know, like I was thinking, visualizing lots of dance and beats and entertainment, childlike behavior.
Absolutely.
And full moon.
So what's interesting about this full moon as well as being in Leo, so very childlike,
Hmm.
What's the job of the tiger every day or whatever, the lion is to get up and go after the gazelle. So you're going to be getting up, going after what you want that day. There's going to be lots of energy. And not only that, but it's on a Sunday. So Sunday's ruled by the sun, yellow colors and yellow energy. But so Leo is also, you think of that. It's always about energy is yellow, stomach chakra, um, anything that has to do with yellow. And so Leo and Sunday, full moon, I think possibly, there's going to be a lot. It's ambition and really career goal.
But kind of hard to steer though at the same time. I mean, there's this big energy, but
Absolutely,
with a
because it
full
comes with
moon,
drama.
sort of, yeah, drama, but also
Drama.
just full moon in and of itself
Yeah.
would be kind of like, I don't know, like on fire. Emotions are on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And the bigger the emotion, the bigger discomfort, the more unpredictable people's behavior.
Right.
And this one's on steroids because it's in Leo. Then on top of that, you have Uranus in a T square, and it's a pretty tight T square. So Sun, Uranus, and Moon. And the trapping point is, or the, I don't know, trap or the attention is this Uranus over the North Node, still technically in a conjunction. So future oriented change, unpredictable. There's more unpredictability.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing's just unpredictable. And then things really do get changed on you because we're in that T square on Uranus in the material world. Something very 3D is changing in your life. And now that produce just anxiety everywhere. So I guess if you can channel that into safe fun, I don't like, I hate that term safe now, safe and effect, whatever. But it's true in this case. If you can take that energy, harness it, it's big energy, it can be really powerful for you. But remember, not everyone is doing this channeling. And by channeling, I mean organizing the big, chaotic, unpredictable energy and then channeling it into a calm, bold energy that's usable because it's calm. And now I can use my conscious mind to channel it into a behavior like build a house or can you finish a project that you've been you've been hesitant about. That's what I consider channeling. But keep in mind, not everyone's doing this and then just seat of their pants and their pants are on fire and their hair's on fire and everything's changing. Man, I think it's going to be a pretty chaotic time.
I think it's going to be fun. I really think it's going to be fun. And if you can really tap in, I think, to the crown chakra is going to be incredibly important at this time. And, and so we're slipping from Imbolc, the mothering, the nurturing, into the full moon. But of course, the energy is, it's very significant. It's if you can just go with the flow, don't let your emotions madly take over and stuff, but really stay connected on the inside. So back to the focus of, what are you brewing? Are you setting yourself up to attract stuff? Watch what you're attracting and then release again what doesn't serve you anymore, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now the next thing
Liberating.
that I wanted to talk about is just the retrograde, because right now, as of today, which is January 25th, at the time of this recording, we have all planets going direct. And so I wanted to show you when that changes, because this is future casting. I'm going to put that one chart out there starting on February 1st for 6 months. And we'll be able to see, I know it's kind of, and I can't zoom in either. But Yeah, it's kind of hard to see on that screen, but basically the first one to start retrograde, it's going to be Mercury, and it's going to be in looks like the third week of April. And I think I have that on our little chart here.
Yeah, right after the eclipse. So you're going to go.
Yeah, April
in
21st through May 14th, about 3 weeks. It's going to be in retrograde in Taurus. And then the next one is Pluto. Now that's going to be in one of our future casting videos, maybe even next week, when we're going to talk about all about Pluto and its course on the cusp. It's going to be dancing on the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius. So it's going to go into Aquarius I think I have that on March 23rd, right after the spring equinox and the new moon in Aries. And then Pluto is going to ease into Aquarius, but then retrograde, it looks like March or May 1st. And then come out of that, go back into Aquarius. It's a whole diatribe, but by the time we get into 2024, this dance is happening in between Aquarius and Capricorn a couple of times, back and forth, and then into Aquarius for like 20 years. So it's a big deal. And I think I find this little dance on the cusp, I think there's a big significance to that. And I don't hear a lot of people talking about just that part. You know, a couple of retrogrades and then back into Capricorn, and a lot of these Aquarian false starts. But if you look back, I mean, we're talking 240 years of time that it takes Pluto to get all the way around the zodiac. And so the last time it was in Aquarius was right around the time, in the Declaration of Independence and Revolutionary War. Little bit after that, just a couple of years, but pretty darn close. And it was built on Aquarian concepts, liberty and justice for all. Well,
maybe
not
it is
justice,
the true age of Aquarius. Maybe that term, is per planet. There's an age of everything, right?
Yeah, but the age of Aquarius, I think, is more on the wobble of the Earth, and those phases are like, from what I understand, I don't know, something like 2,500 years.
Yeah.
They're much longer phases.
Makes sense.
Maybe longer. I don't know. But then on the next retrograde, it's going to be Saturn, and that is towards the middle of June. And that's in Pisces. So that's interesting. Saturn's in between that time in March. Saturn's going to be going into Pisces and then retrograde in it, staying longer in Pisces. And then Neptune. So by July, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 planets retrograde. So that should be interesting. Maybe we should do like a July 4th. That's always interesting as well. But anyway, there's your retrogrades. And sorry, I couldn't zoom in on there. It's my limitations on my software. But the only other thing is just our list. Things to look forward to that we're going to talk about in future videos. Of course, we finished the February 1st, February 5th. We got the big spring equinox is always a nice milestone to talk about and look at. And this one in particular, because you've got right away, then the very next day, you've got the new moon in Aries. And that's the first of 2 new moons in Aries, because the very next one is a total solar eclipse on April 19th. In Aries, which means that's the second new moon in Aries in a row, and it just happens to be a total solar eclipse. Yeah. So we got a lot of things to talk about.
A lot of exciting things.
Yeah.
Things to really look forward to. I think we need that. I think
that's a lot of shake-up energy.
Part of our part of our energy, our duo energy is you know, and is bringing light to subjects and stuff, and really celebrate things. But stuff to look forward to is always really, really, really helpful.
Yeah. So that's the whole point. That's a good summary statement. That's good. Good. That's the whole point of these feature casting videos. And we'll hopefully have more consistency. We'll figure out for when exactly we're going to put these out each week. I don't want to do it on the same day as the surf. That's mainly kind of algorithm kind of stuff. You want to disperse it out, maybe like a Friday or Saturday. And further and further out we go so that you guys can plan. And then if you got any ideas for things that we're missing, obviously you always own that comment section is yours to give feedback and tell us what you want, because that's ultimately what we want to do, is to provide you with stuff that can be helpful for you.
Yeah. And, interviews, ideas on that. We definitely want to get that going. And, give us your feedback on things that you would like to maybe know a little bit more about, a little more in depth on, ideas. This is a melting pot. Bring us your stuff. We want to shout out to other people too, as well. So, I think, likes, comments, shares, the old things you gotta do. Bada bing, boom, poke. Yeah, all those kind of things. But share the love. Absolutely. Share the love.
All right. Well, that's all we have for this edition. It's episode number 1. And hopefully it gives you a little context about what to expect in the future. I'm excited about this. And hopefully we'll chisel it out and give it more definition and more preciseness and all that. Yeah. But all right, you take care, everybody, and don't forget, next surf report Wednesday. We'll do it again.
Until, stay enchanted.
Cheers.